So thank you for coming back. We took a little hiatus.
We did. We had a great summer.
Yes, it was. Well, we're still in it.
Yes.
I'm not ready to give it up yet.
Not quite.
So we're going to talk a little bit about biggest lies, for Florida. Well, there's a lot of lies, I guess.
Let's stick to like what you hear about the biggest lies in Florida, especially for our out-of-state buyers.
Yeah, I mean, because we do get quite a bit.
Yeah.
People that relocate from other states, obviously across the country now. We used to be like really the Northeast.
Right.
We were a big feeder state to them, or vice versa. They were a feeder state to us, and now we're seeing more from the Midwest, even the East Coast. We're getting a lot from that side, California, Colorado, all those. So, and people, we have hurricanes and we have insurance and we have HOAs and we have wonderful things and we have what people think are not so wonderful or they're scared of because of what they hear. So let's block those myths out. What are you hearing with insurance and...
So we hear a lot of times you can't get insurance. You can't insure homes because of hurricanes, because of flooding, and it's impossible to get insurance. Yeah. But what people don't know is that since 2022, we've had 20 providers enter the states. And so what that means is that insurance prices are decreasing. People have more options. Yeah. We're seeing a lot more creative insurance as far as insuring homes that have older windows, insuring homes that have older roof. I think right after 22, we saw them tighten up the reins because of all of the claims that were coming in. Mm-hmm. But we're also seeing that the attorney's fees got blocked in the new bill that went out in 2024. So they capped on that, so that's helping. But we're definitely seeing more carriers enter the marketplace, and we're seeing a lot better products than we've seen since 2022.
Well, I always say when we have a major storm come through that creates, havoc and a lot of damage, and there's a lot of claims that come from it, we always see the insurance companies pull out of Florida in general, and then we get new ones within 6 months. Right. Well, we always have the Citizens, which is the state-backed insurance, but so it's not true if you hear that you cannot get insurance in Florida. That is not true. However, sometimes you're going to pay a little extra for it, but once we start getting that influx of new companies coming in, then it's back to competition. And when you have competition, what does that do? It drives your prices down. So, yes, there is times when insurance is a little struggle, especially flood insurance, but we always have FEMA. Mm-hmm. And let's talk a little bit about flood insurance, because there's certain areas, if you know that there's flood maps, and you have to, based on that map, you either are in a certain flood zone, and that flood zone will dictate kind of what you are paying. Right. If you do have flood insurance. If you're in a flood zone and you have a mortgage, you have to have the flood insurance. But there are a lot of areas in Florida, believe it or not, that aren't in flood zones.
Well, and the other thing is, if the home already has a flood policy, if you're in a flood zone, so it goes 100-year flood, means that there's a chance in 100 years that there would be a flood. There's the regular flood zone that's going to flood at some point, and then you have your 500. So there's really kind of like between 3 and 5 tiers of flood insurance. So if that home already has a policy in place, a lot of times that's transferable. So if they've had the policy in place, we see them as low as $600. If you have to establish a new hurricane flood policy, that sometimes, we see them up to $5,000-$6,000. But if it has a transferable policy, which is one of the things we always check right away, then they've transferred that flood to the new owner, and the rate stays the same.
Right. And while that is not our lane is real estate.
100%.
We always have great referral partners and vendors that we use to find good quotes and good policies.
I think that's important too, because the vendors that we've built relationships with, we've built those relationships because they've helped so many clients. I think, what did we close last year? 160, somewhere around 170 deals, and most of those need insurance. So these insurance carriers that we've built these relationships with do a great job. They know the area, they're experts at their craft, and they get great ratings from our clients. So
yeah, they can definitely shop the prices to get them the best deals
100%.
With the best coverage. So another thing that we struggle with that people misconstrue is HOAs. Mm-hmm. HOAs are not the devil. Some of them, they're pretty close, but they're just, the rules are rules, and you don't. There's plenty of homes and areas that are not HOA, are not rule driven. However, sometimes they're not so bad. I tell people it's not so bad that you aren't allowed to put 14 cars and 2 RVs
Right.
and 4 boats and work on
In
your
your front
car in
yard.
your front yard and or paint your house pink and purple polka dots or things like that. You do want some kind of regulation, just like the county and the cities have certain codes that you have to abide
Sure.
by. And every county and city is different. But you also have the rules of the HOA. Some of them can be stringent. I mean, especially if you start getting into condos and condo living. And some people, I will get clients come in and they're like, I don't want any rules. Well, I'm going to completely steer away from an HOA, but overall, they're not horrible. We've created great relationships with them to where we have good back and forth with them.
Well, I think, when you say great relationships, I think the management companies is what you're talking
Yeah.
about when we go to get the HOA rules and the condo docs and all those things are super important. One of the things is, there are some HOAs, and most of the HOAs, they're either run by a management company, so they hire a management company to run them, or they're run by the individuals that live in the community. And so when you look at HOAs, you've got to look at, is it run professionally or is it run by the community? And then who's elected to that community board? And the biggest part of that is the finances of the HOA. So when we talk about big myths and lies about the HOA and the HOAs are going under, one of the things that we check immediately is, does it meet the state requirement minimum financially to so that we can get it insured, you can get the insurance on the home, all those kinds of things are super important when you're looking at HOAs. But some people love them, some people hate them. I didn't mind. I lived in one. It was very, very lax. The HOA board was community driven. It wasn't professionally managed, and it was excellent. They were excellent.
So 2 of the biggest things that you want to ask for when you are looking at purchasing a home in an HOA is obviously the deed restrictions, the rules and regulations that you have to abide by. So you can review those, but also the budget. Like you said, you want to make sure it's financially sound. And then you fill out an application. They are going to do more than likely a background check
Right.
and a credit check. That's just to, keep people that shouldn't be in there out. And I've only had one.
I was just going to say, you want to talk about the one experience?
One
Well, we've
experience.
had actually 2. You had one and I had one, where
Yeah.
it was the day of closing, and they realized that he was married and hadn't put his spouse on there. And she actually had a huge felony record, so we couldn't close her in the HOA. Day of
Yeah.
closing. Super sad, because people had already moved out.
Yeah, and I was not representing the actual client. It was my listing, and the client, the purchaser was had a felony record of being a pedophile. So, at the end of the day, you don't want those as neighbors anyway. So, flood zones, and we talked about that. Hurricanes.
Yes, let's talk about hurricanes. So we have had 4, we're just entering hurricane season here. So we've had 4 major hurricanes since 2022 that were Cat 3, 4, or 5. Which is quite a few. They are anticipating this year that we have 8 to 14 named storms, and I just looked this up this morning, 1 to 3 major hurricanes. But, you've been here your whole life, right?
Yep.
I grew up in Florida. I've been here 50 plus years. And, do you sweat hurricane season anymore?
No.
Me neither.
I actually just sweat rainy season because I hate going out in the rain and my hair getting messed up. But, no.
Yeah. For those of us with curly hair, it just means you walk outside, and even if you straightened your hair, it's going to get curly. But we don't see major hurricanes every season. We just have a lot of rain in the afternoons, and they're sporadic. Even yesterday we boated, and we just kind of dodged the storms.
You dodge them.
Yeah.
Yep. And so what I would say to that is, at the end of the day, hurricanes they're something that are always going to be. I look at it as a positive compared to, say, tornadoes in the Midwest or
Blizzards.
I can prepare for them.
Right.
And once they're past, you're past the scare part. You
Right.
just have to rebuild. And in the last, like you said, we've had 4 major hurricanes since 22, and in my opinion, were the worst that we've ever had.
Yeah.
And if we can get through that,
Yeah. The only other one I think I was in on the other coast for Charlie, and that was a pretty significant one. But in 50 years, we've had 2 devastating hurricanes. So I'll take that over tornadoes that we see every year up north in some of the states, or blizzards where you're getting snowed in, or earthquakes, all those things.
you mean you'll take that over the boat day you had over the weekend.
Yes.
And you're in sunshine and
Yeah.
salt water and
Yeah.
you're enjoying paradise.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take that all day long.
Even got a little umbrella in one of my fruity drinks, which I never do. So
Oh, I love
super
fruity
fun.
drinks.
Yes.
And umbrellas.
Yes. So what are some of the other lies? Oh, let's talk about property taxes.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a good one. That's a hot
Yeah,
topic
property
right now.
taxes.
Yes. Yes. So what are the pros of the property taxes, Jess?
Well, nothing's pro about property tax other than it's another mortgage payment on your mortgage payment. But no, one of the biggest things right now, well, let's start with the fact that we have on the ballot this year.
Yes.
The proposal for reducing and the property tax by upping the homestead exemption, which is significant. Right now, our homestead exemption, go ahead.
Yeah. Let's
go
tell them
ahead.
exactly what the homestead
Yeah.
exemption is.
Yeah, so the homestead exemption right now, your first $25,000 is off your assessed value, and that includes all taxes. And then after that, there's an additional $25,000 off your assessed value. So you get a total of $50,000 off your assessed value. The second $25,000 does not affect school tax.
Right.
So that is something that everybody wants to argue, well, the schools will suffer if we take away their income from the real estate tax. That's not necessarily the case. So that is one thing that I don't think is very clear to the public. But what they're proposing in this new amendment is an additional $150,000 off of your assessed value for year 2026, and then an additional to make it to a total of $250,000 in addition to the $50,000, correct?
Correct.
In 2028.
I think. We better double check.
Yeah.
So I think, when we talk about the biggest lies, property tax, the schools are going to suffer, there's lots. But I do think there are some cons that need to be considered for this bill.
For sure.
When that money goes away, it does support our roads, it does support, so there's lots of talk that it would, each county, 67 counties in Florida, would then have the authority to impose county taxes that would make up for road, for fire, for police. And I think, I watched a little bit of Governor DeSantis's pitch of the bill, and I've read the bill. I think that some of those things, they're hoping that they can kind of clean out where pick up the cost somewhere else rather than raising those taxes. So I could see both sides of that. I can see where it's going to give counties a little bit more autonomy to impose different taxes. I don't know what that looks like, but...
Which can be scary if you
Sure.
don't have the right people in office countywide.
Correct.
Local municipalities could thrive or suffer.
Right.
And it's scary to put that in the hands if it's not regulated somewhat.
Correct.
So that's where I guess the caution comes in. But yeah, would I like to not have
Property taxes?
as high of a property tax as I have?
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My property tax is significant. Being on the water is
And this one big thing that I do want to point out is you have to be a primary resident, which is 6 months plus 1 day in the state of Florida to qualify, and you have to have owned the home prior to December 31st, 2026 to qualify immediately.
Right.
If you buy after that, you will still have the opportunity, if it passes, to qualify down the road. It will I believe it's a 5-year wait.
5-year wait.
But one thing, I was thinking, we should really consider, if anything else, if this doesn't pass, is maybe doing some type of elimination of these type taxes for 65 plus. I think the people that have owned, if they're primary residents, have owned for that long, and they're in their, they're already on a fixed income, most of them, and that's something to think about. They've done their share of paying into school taxes and real estate taxes, and that's something that you could think about too.
I was just super excited to hear you've been thinking about it.
I have been.
You
thinking
started
about
with, I've been thinking, which
it. I have, which doesn't happen that often. So.
No, that's a lie. That right
She's
there
been
is a
very
myth.
sweet to me this morning. So,
but
anyway.
I do think that that's a great idea. I think that's a brilliant idea. If you've owned your home for X amount of days and you're over 65, I think that is a great way to break
Maybe
that
I should
tax.
run for office.
I think you should.
Okay.
I think you should. No.
Too many skeletons in my closet.
So what else? What else do we hear about lies? So what else in Florida? There's no lizards. That's a lie.
Well,
Yeah, there's a lot of lizards.
there's my favorite is, Do you think that there will be any, will I have any alligators or snakes when they buy on the water or on a lake? I'm like, yeah, you're in Florida. You're going to get both, and you're going to get them a lot. As a matter of fact, I got a baby rabbit last night. My dogs brought in to me.
At dinner time.
Yeah, yep. It was.
You know how you can tell if there's alligators or snakes in the water?
There's water.
If it's wet, pretty much.
There's water.
There's gonna be. Yep.
Yeah. So you can't avoid those. You're in
but
Florida.
We also have palm trees and sunshine.
Yeah, for sure. So let's do some rapid fire.
Okay.
Agree or disagree?
Okay. Oh boy, this will be fun.
It says it should be according to our little thing here.
Yeah.
Are open houses overrated?
Oh, I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. So if you just stick an open house sign in the front yard and that's all you do, way overrated because you're not going to get that many people through. If you really plan an open house and you get on social media, you put yourself out there, you get it booked ahead of time, and you really work that open house, it can be very fruitful in bringing through a lot of buyers and getting exposure to see the house. So if you just stick a sign in the yard, I'd say it's overrated. If you really plan it out, I'd say they can be really beneficial.
Not to get too far off the topic, but that really reminds me a lot of how people. We have a lot of real estate agents in our area, and that's a lot of the ways that these agents actually list homes.
Yeah,
is they stick a sign in the yard and they put it on MLS and they hope and wait and pray. You can't do that, not in the market we're in.
No.
And the same as for open houses. Open houses are overrated when it comes to, people think that you can host an open house and you're going to get 4 buyers that walk right through. Mm-hmm. Most of them are going to be nosy neighbors up front.
Right.
And then you're going to have a few that just are bored people that are driving around after lunch and want to just go look at people's houses. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do when I'm looking at houses is see how people live.
Yeah.
But
we get some great design ideas.
Get good design ideas and good design not to ideas.
And I like the nosy neighbors because a lot of times neighbors want their friends to come. So if they go look at a house, they're not necessarily looking, but then they go drop their kids off at school and they're like, oh, we're thinking about moving to your neighborhood. Oh my gosh, I just went to this open house. So people say, oh, I don't want my nosy neighbors in there. I love it when the nosy neighbors
They're
come.
selling their own neighborhood.
100%.
Nobody loves their neighborhood like themselves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure.
Ooh, next one, Jess. Zillow hurts agents.
Does it hurt agents? No. What it hurts is the consumer.
Mm-hmm. Tell me why.
Because I don't feel, first of all, the Zestimate, BS. The way they configure their estimates is the most asinine way I've ever seen in my life. As a matter of fact, tell us about the Zillow owner.
Oh, yes. The owner of Zillow did not even use the Zestimate when he listed his own house. You would think if he trusted his product, he would have put the Zestimate price on his listing price, but he did not.
Well, because it's based off of an algorithm. And the algorithm, I could put a property on the market that's worth $400,000 at $900,000, and all of a sudden the Zestimate goes up around the neighborhood.
Right.
Just because I threw a number on it, that makes
Are you going to sell
sense.
it? No, you're going to list it and leave it because we know we're not selling it at $900.
100%. So yeah, no, it doesn't hurt agents. It only hurts the agents that actually give them money.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Sorry if you're one of those agents.
Yes. Yes.
Sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Anyway, how about the next one?
Wait, the other thing I want to say about Zillow is, so when you're on Zillow, and we have this weekend, we had somebody that went on Zillow and on Realtor, and we support Realtor, we like that. And Zillow has a great product for searching houses. It's very user-friendly, so we don't want to...
We should say that. And we do Zillow Showcase and stuff.
Yeah, they do a great job. Yeah, it gets triple the exposure. So there's lots of positives to Zillow. But one of the things that I don't like about some of these, and we had a buyer come in, George, from Miami, and he said, I thought I was calling the listing agent. So the house pops up, you have an agent with it, and he called that agent and they said, oh, it's not my listing, but I'll take you to show it. And he thought, well, he was a savvy buyer, so he went and looked it up himself and found us, thank goodness. But great guy. But I think that's a little misleading sometimes.
It's very misleading, and so many people aren't savvy, don't realize that once you go, especially now with our new buyer broker agreements
100%.
that are required by the DOJ and NAR, that once you sign that, you're stuck to that agent.
Yep.
And you have to go through them and work with them, and they have to represent you. While I don't disagree with that, I do disagree with the way you can kind of sneak it in there, and you come across some of these agents that are
They pretend like it's their listing.
or they don't know what they're doing. They're not
They're buying
seasoned
leads
agents
because they don't have
it. And so I would hate for you to sign up with somebody that ends up not being a good, solid agent. And
So let's talk about that real quickly. So when you're interviewing agents, and when we go to a listing appointment or we meet with our buyers to sign our buyer's broker's agreement, one of the things we tell them is interview more than just us. You should be, and here's the questions you should be asking. And then if you like what we have to say, come back. It needs to be a partnership where they understand. So I always tell people, interview 3, and I know you do the same.
Yeah,
interview
absolutely.
3 or 4. That little bug is driving me nuts.
Uh-huh.
Interview 3 or 4 different people, and in another podcast, let's talk about all the questions. So rapid fire, here we go.
Yep. So the next one, Zillow Hearts agent, you should never overprice.
Yes, never. Agree.
Yeah, 100%.
You'll chase the market.
That's just,
Yep.
you don't even need an explanation.
Every buyer needs an inspection?
100%.
Yep.
200%.
Never go without it. Oh, good one.
FSBO save money.
Disagree.
Why do you disagree, Erin?
I disagree because our research shows us that people that try to save money on commission and not, they end up taking less in the end after all the negotiations are finished, because it's not just about pricing your home competitively. They think they can price it higher, save commission. It's about negotiating all the way through, past the inspection, all the way to the end. We see a lot of concessions coming, in the end after inspections done, and so they end up giving away a lot more in the end, especially right now when you have our average days on market. Right now, I pulled it this morning, is 69 days on market for your average $400,000 home.
At least it's not 67.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right.
Okay, the next one. Luxury homes are easier to sell.
I don't think
nobody else but us.
Yeah.
Luxury homes are easier to sell. I would say absolutely yes in some cases and absolutely not in others. But overall, an answer would be yes. And here's why. Some of the smallest deals become some of the biggest bitches when it comes to selling.
Yep.
They're a nightmare. And the biggest problem we have is usually the type of property, like when it comes to repairs, condition, things like that. So luxury is not easy to market and not easy to list necessarily. However, when it comes to showcasing it,
Yeah. They're easier to showcase, but you do see longer days on market. Sometimes, like when we get into our $3-4 million properties,
100%.
And upwards, you're going to see longer days on market, which is frustrating for some people, unless you have a gorgeous home on the water that somebody just walks in. But I definitely think some of our smaller homes sometimes take a lot more time.
Yeah,
all right.
This is my favorite one. AI will replace realtors.
We were not on the list. So there's the study put out. We learned at Family Reunion with Gary Keller. There's a study put out that of all the things that AI will replace, and realtors was not on that list.
I wonder why.
Well, I think so. We love AI. We use AI every day. In fact, this little chat, Oliver, my chat GPT, and Jess's
Willie.
Yeah, helped us create our list. But one of the things that AI can't do is negotiate. It can't bring purchasing a home, purchasing a commercial property for your business is an emotional piece for a lot of people. And so we're not just managing the transaction a lot of times we're managing the emotions that go along with that. And AI can't do that. You're not in front of your people, you don't know your people, you don't build relationships, because most of our clients become friends.
Yeah. AI is amazing at a lot of things, but it cannot replace common sense.
Or knowledge.
And knowledge of certain things.
When we look at Altas all day, that's your closing statement, or we look at your lender's documents and walk you through that. Well, we know when it's missing insurance. We know when it has to have flood insurance and it doesn't have to have flood insurance. We know when PMI is supposed to be in place. And so they throw it in AI, and AI is great, and I use Claude for all that, but I can't tell you how many times I've thrown a pro forma for a commercial property in Claude, and it's missing all kinds of things.
Or how about, can Claude or ChatGPT take you to a house and look at it and tell you if it's got some structural issues or concerns or flooding or mold issues or, the laundry list of items that we look at when we walk through homes.
You mean like when we walk in and the first thing we're looking at is the ceiling for cracks and moisture
100%.
And people are like, what the heck are they doing?
There's so many things, yeah.
All right.
Sorry, you're not getting rid of us.
So
the last thing, rapid fire relationships beat marketing.
Oh, that's a really good one. I think we should do a podcast on marketing. What do you think?
100%, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
No
Maybe
doubt.
we get our new marketing director in here, Maggie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because marketing is huge.
Yes, huge. So I don't think it's going to replace relationships, but we are a database team. We touch our database. We love on our database. We love our people. And most of our business comes from repeat offenders coming back. So you can market and market and market. But if you're not building those relationships, you're not getting the repeat business. You're missing out.
I think you can definitely combine the two.
100%.
And how you reach out.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So let's look at our hot takes for the last 60 seconds. One thing we're loving. Go.
One thing, I just skipped a section.
Oh,
Jesus.
sorry.
Okay. Hot takes. One thing we're loving. I'm loving our marketing right now.
Loving our marketing, 100%. And I'm also loving spending a lot of time in the Keys over the summer.
Yes,
Okay,
I'm going
next.
back Monday.
One thing we're tired of.
Erin.
Jessica, this is best business partners. I got
Sorry. I'm not tired of Erin.
I got to tell you guys, we come in every day and we spend our entire day like this. We have a new director of operations and she was like, "Do you guys do this every day?" And we're like, "Yep, every single day."
Okay, one thing I'm tired of, the rain right now.
Okay, one thing I'm tired of.
Mine are not deep thoughts.
Mosquitoes. All right. One prediction for next month.
We're going to fucking kill it.
Yes, we're going to kill it.
And I predict people will be back quicker, and I think we're
Yes.
our market's going to pick up tremendously.
My prediction for next month is that the buyers and sellers sitting on the fence are watching what we're putting out there right now in the market. It is shifted. If you have not seen, look at some of our social media, it is shifting. If you're not paying attention, it's coming quick.
If it doesn't tell you when I'm pushing my kids to buy this year,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't know what.
And
else
I'm buying. All right, one business tip.
One business tip. You go first.
Buy right now. We certainly see some uncertainty in the market, and that is an optimum time to make investments.
My business tip would be know who you work with, whether it be with that person or who you hire. It's very important.
One life lesson, I'm going to say consistency. I have learned over the years that you don't have to be perfect all the time, but you have to be consistent. And if you get off whatever you're doing, whether it's your finances, your weight, your eating, your drinking, whatever it is, don't give up. Just stay consistent. Don't say, "Oh, I'm going to start again tomorrow. I'm going to start again next week." Just go to the gym that day. Put your savings in that day, and just be consistent.
My one life tip is live. Take the
Amen.
vacation and drink.
Yeah,
No, just kidding.
that helps.
Take the trip.
All right, that's a wrap.
Thank you.